Hey, how you doing? I thought I'd make you a video so you could get started on the weekend, but if you still want to meet next week, you can. For the class extra credit, you can use a video and do like a link to the video and then the three things and stuff like that. So I hope you fulfill all of those. But let me know if you want help, or you can email me or anything like that. I'm happy to help. So this is a big topic right now. There was a group of psychologists, maybe it was just a study, where they found that Instagram on young teen um, students, they found that they were having like body image issues because they would see, or whenever they would take a picture of themselves and post it on Instagram, it was when they were perfect and they had the light just right, the clothes were just right, and then so every single picture you'd see on Instagram, if you're a 13-year-old, you'd be like, everybody's perfect. And then you'd look at yourself and you'd be like, oh, I'm not. So it's something that's going on. How do we find more, and how do we find scholarly articles about that sort of a thing? Well, um, we can start with some keywords and we can look for stuff on the open web using a couple of ideas, and then we can go into the scholarship. I'll show you a few tips. One key thing that I noticed is that we have mobile phones, but they're also called smartphones. So is there like any synonyms? Or I don't know if anyone's going to pick on a particular phone. But smartphone seems to be a big one. And if you put it in quotes, it'll look for those two key terms stuck together. And there's also, like, what are examples of social media? It might be or Instagram or Facebook or that's TikTok, right? Is that how they spell it? Facebook, it's the the impact of this is kind of less. Now it's just kind of like older folks. So if you're looking at younger people, you would maybe omit that one and look at things that they're looking at, that particular demographic. And this is something you would have to just sort out as you went. Um, so if you stuck MySpace, do you remember MySpace? You get a bunch of stuff about the influence of youth like 20 years ago. But here we have, this is a good keyword. So we know that we're going to be looking in psychology or even sociology effects on society. And this one might be like, it might be medicine, it might be sociology, it might be other different things like that. So how do we find those things? Well, I'm glad I asked. Let me show you. First of all, if we go to Google, there's something that I call a contextual search, and I've been doing this with other students for this rhetoric class as well. And it's kind of worked. So if we put in, let's do social media. Social media we can assume maybe is consumed by people on phones. But let's look in the context, just social media. Let me show you a contextual search. You don't have to put it in quotes for this. But if I wanted to look at social media as like the main topic, and then I wanted to search in that topic, like I was looking in a database about social media, all you do is put a colon, and then you could let's do mental health. So what it means when you have a colon there is social media is the context, and then mental health is the search. And so it's going to search in that context, if that makes sense. It helps narrow it down a little better. It's like an advanced search for Google. But this might help give us keywords, might give us the articles, might give us people who are interested in this. Teens and tech. I don't know. So who sponsored that? The Ad Council. So this is advertising. There's going to be probably too much, but a lot of questions. Is it bad? Well, we want to find criteria. So here's it delayed. So here's sleep and depression, memory loss. Have I been here before? Social media help guide. This isn't helpful. I was looking for people who had opinions on this. This is all like interventions from hospitals and things like that. Well, be that as it may, look at that, Mental Health Statistics 2021. I can't help but click on this. I'm so easily distracted because of my consumption of social media. Oh, there's that hospital one again. So this is getting out of hand, isn't it? Let's go to the library catalog. I'm going to go back there. And I'm going to do a search related to what we had done before. Let's do mobile phones or smartphone. And let's go to advanced search. Then we can break our concepts down. That'll make sense in just a second. Or 10 minutes. 10 minutes later. The catalog is painfully slow. That's all right. So each of these rows, you could put a concept and synonyms, or smartphone, or iPhone. So the media is being consumed on this particular thing. That's the concept. The next thing, we want to look at social media. So this is where we put in all that other stuff. Whoops. Okay, so first line is the device. Second line is the medium that is being, the things are being conveyed on. And if we add a new line, we could put in a specific population or the two keywords that you had, mental health or social development. I'm going to put those in quotes. So to look for mental and health stuck together. And I'll do or social development. All of these things are included, but how it's going to search is out of 70 to 100 million things in the library catalog. It's going to look for the first row first, bring those search results back. Out of those search results, then it's going to search for the second line and narrow it down, and then it's going to search for the third line and narrow it down. That's what this and is over here. Is this too much? Kind of nervous. Oh no, there's 14,000 results. Okay, so our trouble will be to narrow it down. Oh, there's TikTok even right there. How do we narrow it down? This is the tool that you'll be able to use. First of all, you had to do peer-reviewed articles, right? So we can grab peer-reviewed journals, and this will be our first narrowing. So we'll go from 14,000. And I want to narrow it to peer-reviewed journals. So that'll get rid of newspapers, magazines, book chapters, books, movies, and things like that. And our second narrow, so that cut it in half. That's still a lot, isn't it? Since social media has been around for a while, we might want to narrow it down by date. So, like going back to that MySpace question. So down here we can narrow by date. Let's see what's been going on. What's been going on since COVID? Are we as bold as to just narrow down to the last 2 years? Mental health has been examined a lot in the last 2 years. So I think it would be okay to narrow it down to just 2 years. Normally I'd say 5 years. There's still 3,800 results. What do you do now? That's a lot of scholarship. I did not expect it to be that much. What do you do with this? Okay, here's my tips. You can narrow it down by subject. This is large subjects. Oh, I think I have an idea. We can narrow it down to a specific age range or a population. This might help. So you could do adolescents or teenagers or youth or something like that. Since you were talking about development, I think this might be one of the keys that you could narrow it down. But you can narrow it down by any of these subjects. So you could say, I want to look at COVID-19 specifically. I want to look at teenagers. Or how do I do an intervention? Or you could pick an article from all three of these. But let's narrow down to teenagers. And in the United States, teenagers, that's like that social development time, arguably. So I think you cover that one. Now we only have 500. This is where you maybe have to slog through. some of these and take a look and see what's interests you. But again, you can go back to the subjects and you can narrow it down even further. So you can say, okay, I just want stuff on smartphones, or oh, I only want stuff on social media. As you go through these, though, what you can do is TikTok is my life and Snapchat is my ventricle. That is the most bizarre metaphor I've ever heard. Isn't a ventricle like part of your heart? If something looks good, now I'm intrigued by this. So this could be like a positive thing, tools for friendships, and it might talk about the ups and the downs. But what do is if a title grabs you, go in and read the abstract. That's this description. Do they say something that is useful for you? Then you have an article. Does it say nothing that's interesting to you? That's when you can cast aside. But they will typically, in an abstract, say, they'll say something. They'll have a point to say. So they have a study where they went out and surveyed a group, did a questionnaire, had a methodology, and then they processed it, maybe using statistical analysis or a thematic analysis, and then they'll make a statement. We found that despite the emergence of some online specific aggressions, OCTs, online communication tools, are perceived as beneficial for friendships. There you have a statement right there. There you have a scholarly article. How do you get it? And what else can you do in this interface? One thing, you can email yourself. You can grab a citation. This has like the MLA citation style and APA. They're usually kind of close. And then when you want to see the article itself, click on this link to online resource. And the catalog doesn't have a lot of full text. It'll point to other databases. And it'll say, okay, go into this database. And you'll be able to see the full text. Scholarly articles are going to come to the point really fast. So if you don't find what you're looking for in the first page of the article, just move on to another one. You should be able to find 3 with no problem whatsoever. You're going to find too many. There won't be a perfect article, so cut yourself some slack and just go, this might be good. Oh yeah, this is qualitative. They did use thematic analysis. Let me know how it goes. Contact me if you want an article that you can't get the full text for it. Don't spend too much time doing that. I'm happy to find those things. Try different keywords than I tried. Go back and forth in this video and you can see what worked and what didn't. And then let me know how it goes. And you should be good to go.